All right. Welcome. It is September 9th, 2025 at 7 o'clock. My name is Joey Ragona, and you are who you are. Thank you for being here live. If you're here live, let me know what the hashtag live, or if you're watching the replay, let me know what the hashtag replay. Kind of sounds weird every time I say that off the top of the hour, but that's the way we go. All right, so I am monitoring things over here on my iPad. I'm looking down here like you could see it. You can't. So let me turn off the volume there. And I'm also live on the Instagrams. So hi over to Instagrams. So if you see me looking around at all these camera thingies, that is what I'm doing today. All right. I got notes as well that I made for today's call. And I want to talk to you a little bit about the three problems that behind your marketing struggles. These are not the only three problems, because what if I told you that I had that the three problems from my clients, top 25, are actually the root cause of almost every other marketing struggle that you are having. That's right. I have a top 25 list that I took from all the clients from all the years I've been coaching and compiled them all. And these are the top three that, or the top three that are really the root cause of everything. So I'm going to talk a little bit about problem number 6, okay, which is finding my niche or niche, however you say that. And this is why this is the foundational problem. If you have this problem, you might be unclear about who you serve and what problem you actually solve. Every time I'm speaking to somebody about why their program is not working, they can't make any sales, it's basically down to this problem. They really don't know who they serve, thinking that because they did an avatar exercise, one or two of those, nothing wrong with that, that they know who their dream client is. And they also haven't done enough deep research into realizing or recognizing what the actual real problem is. So this is a domino effect, because if your niche or niche is unclear, then your messaging gets really, really muddy, which makes client attraction impossible. So this one problem creates problems. Number 7, number 8, number 13, number 14, number 15, and number 16. Wow, I didn't even know that until tonight when I compiled all this. But that's a lot of problems that this one thing about finding the niche or niche causes. So one way to deal with this is there's a problem that's called the scatter problem, basically. And I had a client trying to help entrepreneurs with their marketing. This is what I asked them, like, what do you do? And they said, I help entrepreneurs with their marketing. And that's not a niche. That's a continent, right? If you help entrepreneurs, there's hundreds and thousands of entrepreneurs all around the world. You got to get specific, and the fix is to focus on this. This is what I call the 4% multiplier, or the 4% focus principle applied to niching down. And so instead of trying to serve everyone, you identify that vital 4%, the specific type of client that you get the best results for. And I know this is a mindset issue for many of us, including myself. I'm not pointing any fingers here, because we know that we can help a lot of people, right? That this will apply to many, many people. And I wanted, let me just see here if there's, I just got distracted here. There's my ADD. There was a message coming up in the Facebook group. Okay, so the focus fix, right, is when you identify 4% of the main 4% of the market, the entire thing of who you actually operate for and who you actually serve. So I'll give you an example. So instead of I help coaches, right, because that's what I do, I help coaches, then what I would say is something to the effect of I help Heart Center coaches who built programs that are selling, that aren't selling, and turn them into profitable premium experience for dream clients. So you see, it's really specific on who I'm helping. This is the niche clarity framework. Who specifically lights you up and who you want to work with. I talk about this all the time, and I will talk until I can't talk anymore. And then 2, what is the problem? Do you solve better than anybody else? I can solve this problem pretty much better than anybody I know in my world, because I've been doing this over and over and over again. And I'm specific on what I'm solving the problem, who I'm solving the problem for. It's not just about marketing. It's not just about selling an online program. It's not about that. It's more about mission-driven entrepreneurs. It's more about purpose-driven. It's more about how do you buy back 96% of your time? How do you simplify your business? And you want to work with dream clients who are spending $1,000 or more on you, and you wanted to work with less clients, not more clients. You want to have an epic life. All that stuff is what I'm really, really great at solving problems for and helping people build a business that is simplified, removing all the complexity and all that. And then what stage are they at when they find you? This is part of what I call the barstool moment. And there's a belief chain where people have to uh, understand or believe certain things or open to believing, looking at new perspectives before they actually buy from you. But there's this point when they meet you, right? When they meet you on the bar stool, when they are having a conversation with that bartender, that virtual bartender, right? Like they're having this conversation and they're so frustrated. What is that moment that you can interject into the conversation, and not a sales conversation, but just a general conversation? Thanks for the love, by the way. Thanks for the watch. If you're watching me live, let me know with the hashtag live or hashtag replay if you're watching the replay. Number 2, problem number 13. I'm jumping all over the place. I understand this, but this is problem number 13. So we went from problem number 6. We're going to go to problem number 13. And this is trouble articulating what I do. This is a big problem. And this is the connection problem to number 6, which is what I just gave you. So when your niche is fuzzy, your message becomes generic. I've already talked about not knowing what that is, but I see a lot of marketing messages where they think their messaging is clear, but it's really, really fuzzy because they can't articulate really what it is that they do. They can't clearly explain their value proposition. And the greatest thing about, today's world with AI and all that is not really going into AI and saying, hey, help me find my niche or help me, describe this problem. It's where we can gather data, and hopefully you've been doing that over the last, few years or however long you've been doing this. And if you haven't, you need to start collecting data, because data is what drives AI as much as I understand it. Okay. I'm no AI expert, but I'm an entrepreneur looking at AI from an entrepreneurial way to say, how can we utilize this amazing tool in order for me to buy back my time again and see patterns and see things that faster than I could ever do this on my own or even with a team. So that comes down to your data. And that's where the messaging can still help. AI can still help you with the messaging, but it's got to have the right input. If you just look at it and say, my dream clients are whatever, heart-centered entrepreneurs who haven't, been able to sell their program, that's not enough for AI to help you actually do. You have to have the data. That's a whole other tangent, right? So Joey, slow down and go back to this message here. So can't clearly explain the value proposition. The result is that you sound like everybody else in the industry. If people aren't resonating with what you are talking about, it's because you sound like everybody else. So there's a 3-step clarity test that I want to give you. This is how you avoid coach speak. First of all, instead of the regular "I help people overcome limiting beliefs," right? Instead of that whole "I help" statement, there's nothing wrong with it. But why don't we do something different? Or why don't we add to that statement or an alternative to the statement? So in other words, a general thing might be, I help people overcome limiting beliefs, right? So that is where someone might think that, well, that's a niche. Like, that's very specific on what I do. Cool, but you sound like everybody else. So what if we change that to, here's why charging what you're worth feels terrifying. Here's why charging what you're worth feels terrifying, as opposed to, I help people overcome limiting beliefs, right? So for me, I could say I help coaches overcome limiting beliefs about pricing, right? I could say that, and that might sound like it's defined, like it's niched down, but it's really not. Better one is, here's why charging what you're worth feels less terrifying. Make it tangible. Again, this is the 3-step clarity test. Make it tangible. Transform your life with specific daily improvements that they'll experience. So what are they going to get when they transform their life? So I see this all the time. I read this all the time. I see posts, I see videos, and it's just really, really generic. You're going to feel better. You're going to transform your life. You're going to bring money into your world, like this kind of thing. And that's really not specific stuff. Address known problems. Speak to the problems they already know that they have, not the ones that you think that they should have. And this is a big problem, because we are, if you're a guide, if you're the right guide, if you've already done what you're teaching, please be that person. Please be that person that You're not somebody who just reads a book and says like, "Hey, this is great. I understand it," but you've never really accomplished it. I see that so many times that that people have not accomplished what they're selling. And that's an issue for me. That's a challenge for me. I'm not a fan of that. So if you are have if you've done what you're selling, right, then you speak to the problems that they already know. And this is hard for us. This is why we have to have the data. This is why we have to go back and look at and continuously speak to the market, because the market might be fluctuating, it might be changing, on what their main problems are, but they're basically around the same thing, but you forgot about them sometimes. It's like, yeah, what's so hard about that, right? Like right now, when I think about low end pricing, where I mean, I was just speaking to my academy group, my private mastermind today about this, where years ago, not too long ago, but it was years ago, where $297 was a big number for me. I couldn't imagine anything above and beyond that. It was like, wow, who's going to pay 297? And now when I think about even $1,000 or 2,000, not to judge anybody because everybody's in their own place, I get it, but I can't help anybody on the lower end of things. There has to be people for that, but that's just not me. And that's where my niche or my specificity, my focus moves, right? I'll help other people here with all the free stuff, but I won't really deal with it. It's just that I can't get myself back to that level to say, well, if I want to make $10,000 or $100,000, I need 1,000 people to buy this $100 product or something. It just doesn't resonate with me, right? But enough about me. So I just want you to understand that. Make sure that you speak to the problems that they already own, they already have, not the ones you think that they should have. So here's a message formula that really works. This is cool. So you know how, write this down, you know how, and then specific type of person. So you know how heart-centered, mission-driven entrepreneurs struggle with the specific problem they recognize, which would mean struggle with selling programs that they've built, programs that whatever it is. I help them, and then specific result that they want, so they can deeper transformation. Actually, I'm going to put this into the chat because it will be easier for me to share this with you. And you can just take this. Let's go. Let me put that in the chat. That should work. Okay. That's the framework. So that's one framework, actually. So you know how this specific person struggles with this specific problem, the one that they recognize, not you, and not where you want them to go or what you're going to help them with. Well, I help them do the specific thing that they want, help them get this specific result, and so they can do this deeper transformation. So they can do what, right? Feel better, have a better life is not a specific transformation. Make sure you dig deeper into that situation right there. Okay. Problem number 9. Are we going? And let me see here. Is this so 6, 13, number 9? Okay. Okay. So problem number 9, which is the third problem really in this situation, because I got 25 problems that I've identified, top 25 problems, and a lot of them are interconnected. But the number 3 is finding dream clients. And this is how problems number 6, what I just gave you, and number 13 lead to this one here. They're not knowing where ideal clients are or dream clients, where to locate them. I always get that question. And the connection is where you're unclear on your niche. If you're not if you're clear about who you serve and what you serve, and you can't articulate what you do, then of course you can't find dream clients. You can't go out into the world or create content or go on video or do live streams or produce content that is going to attract them. Because here's the secret: when you are showing up in the world for dream clients, then they will find you if you're resonating with the message and articulating what their problems are. That's why these first 2 problems are extremely important. So traditional clients finding fails. These are why traditional client finding fails. That's hard to say. So trying to find clients for fuzzy messages to an unclear niche is very expensive and it's exhausting. I don't know about you, if you've had challenges trying to use regular funnels or marketing tactics that's out. I tried for so many years, for 7 years. The last 3 between 2016 and 19 were horrendous for me. But again, I'm not, I don't regret it. but I would never go back. But I'm just saying, if you're having any trouble, I know exactly what you're going through. Um, the first thing is, so like after 7 years of trying all those formula funnels and everything, I barely hit 50,000 in all of those years combined, not just 1 year. I was fishing in the wrong pond with the wrong bait, and that's probably one of the worst things you can do. So this is where the UnFunnel client attraction system came from. It was, how do I take apart all of these things that I've been doing, the 100 lead magnets and all that stuff, the 200 campaigns, and just make it really simple. But it had to do with getting everything that I talked about clear first. So the first thing is the UnFunnel attraction. I'm going to just give you 3 tips on the UnFunnel attraction system. Get clear first. Like I can't be more more specific about that and talk more about that. But his fixed problem is number 6 and fixed problem number 13 before trying to find anyone. This is where all of my work lands. Atlas is all about, who do you serve? What do you serve? Like, it's not a marketing program, even though it helps you market. It helps you get in front of the right dream clients. It helps you sell your program without actually being that salesperson. Yes, does all that. But we back up and we go into, who are you serving? And I'm telling you that almost everybody, it's not 100%, but it's very close, do not know how to answer the question. And they're challenged on it, and then they figure out, wow, I don't know enough about who I'm serving and what I'm actually solving. So get that first. You get clarity first. Number 2 is create clarity content. This is content so specific to their specific situation that they think, this person is in my head. When you can articulate what their problem is better than they can, they will automatically and unconsciously assume you have the answers. And that's because when you're focused in on one specific person and one specific problem, that's all you're talking about. You're getting better and better at articulating that problem, articulating maybe solutions to the problem. You're just coming at it from different perspectives. And then you let them find you. That's part of the UnFunnel. Dream clients who resonate will reach out naturally. I promise you this. I can't guarantee it, but I've seen this happen over and over and over again. This is where I figured this out in 2020, when I stopped marketing and stopped doing the regular stuff that everybody was doing, including myself, and just laid back and said, I'm not going to DM someone and say, hey, let's get on a call, which I wasn't doing anyway. But, I wasn't asking for opt-ins. I wasn't asking for clarity calls anymore. I was just giving and doing exactly what I'm saying here. And then people started reaching out and then started buying programs from me, which was Atlas when it was first thought of. And here I am 5 years later, still doing the exact same thing, but simplifying. And this is it. This is just putting out content, exactly what I'm doing here, speaking about the same dang thing for 5 years over and over and over and over again. And then the right people just reach out when they're ready. So why these problems rule it all. There's 3. I gave you the top 3 problems that could be part of your marketing problem. And if you fix these 3 in order, I promise you that the niche comes first. Understand who you are solving the problem for, who it is that your dream client is, the person that you want to be a part of in a part of your life, because you're going to have conversations. You're going to have, if you're following my heart-centered system and marketing mindset, it's, you're having conversations because you like the person, not because you think that they'll buy something from you. And if you enjoy speaking with that person because you have the same beliefs and values and these kind of things, then the sale, if that person, let's pretend that person does become a client sooner or later, or will become a client, then the sale becomes natural because the conversation is not forced. The conversation is all around them, and it's just a natural human to human conversation. That's why this really works, at least for me and my heart-centered tribe. And probably if you're watching this, you're the same things. You resonate with what I'm saying. So niche first, however you say that. Then messaging. A lot of people come to me and want to fix their messaging, but they don't have the niche and the dream client solid yet. And then client attraction. Okay. Actually, I should say it the other way around, because a lot of people come to me for, how do I find clients? Like, I have this thing, and how do I find clients? So we have to back it up. And you see what I mean? So watch how many, if you do those 3, the other 22 problems on the list disappear. I promise you that. And this is why these problems are very, you have to understand what they are. So the action plan that I have for you is this: get clear on your niche. Use the 4% focus principle. And by the way, let me know in the chat. Let me know in the comments, or DM me, like asking me more questions about this, and I'll help you. Um, Getting clear on what the 4% is. I'll even give you some videos to go watch from inside of Atlas, and when I've talked about the 4% multiplier and these things that will really help you. Next week, rewrite your core message. Using the specificity framework that I just shared with you today. And then week number 3 is create one piece of content, a clarity content piece that demonstrates your deep understanding. If you do these things, then you will move towards clients coming to you. And so you might be wondering, I talked about 25 problems. I talked about 3 today. You might be wondering what those other 22 problems are on that top 25 list. Things like imposter syndrome, pricing confidence, consistency showing up, scaling strategy. These are the problems. All of those challenges my clients face regularly, and that's what we address. If you want to know the top 25, just comment top 25, and I'll send you the top 25 list so you can see for yourself. And I think there's a couple of insights on how to deal with it. So there you go. Thank you for watching tonight on Heart Centered Marketing. My name is Joey Ragona. Thank you so much. I'll see you next week on another marketing, Heart Centered Marketing show. Okay. Take care.